Attention gamers. The other day I was just fulfilling my duties as a League of Legends viewer by going through the list of top streamers and letting them know all the ways they misplayed in their games at ranks 9 divisions higher than anything I've ever played in when I stumbled across this clip.
They're cinched as gold playing in Challenger.
So a few things before we move further. The whole young boy playing with the grown-ups conundrum here can likely be explained by riots among us systems to detect the imposter and to place them into games that are a division or two higher than their current rank, aka Smurf Q. So basically this guy must be rocking quite the dark blue dick, as he's not just smurfing. He's 28 and 1 just flat flexing on Challenger players, and today we are gonna cover this game against Dantes, who, if you don't know because you are living under a rock, one that breaks into smaller rocks, is a part of the latest wave of rage yelpers in the streaming space on the come up. He used to go by a different name, but the absolute geniuses at Twitch thought he was advocating for men to stick their pork swords up people's butt tunnels, so he changed it to just Dantes. But this man's been cancelled more than Kanye West himself, so I'm assuming one day he will just go by Tay. Rumor has it he still lives in his mom's house, but all I was able to confirm for sure is that he wears her stretched out underwear as a shirt when he streams. I play League of Legends, so the phrase Netflix and chill for me means I'm actually just watching the shows by myself, and I can't help but to think he looks like Oscar from that latest show where Steve Martin tries to prove he isn't a shitty actor. And lastly, to address the one turbo virgin in desperate need of the vitamin D that sunlight provides, who is so heroically going to point out that this video isn't truly featuring Dantes, let me explain what's gonna happen. After this, a bunch of you are gonna go to this man's stream and say something in his weird language like Rav says, it's like he knows what you mean. He'll then come and watch this live, I'll quietly lurk and screen record it, then post it on my channel as a reaction, which will get more views than the original because that's how the weird internet meta works. He'll contemplate copywriting me, but then realize that there's nothing more he can take from me, that Susan Wu zits on my face already hasn't, and then everyone will say in the end it did feature him, and Rav's a 200 IQ genius for predicting this all from the start. So if all that happens, you owe me a sub, and let's get into this handsome devil's game.
Thank you, Poop.
So the game begins with Tay immediately showing how a Challenger player thinks.
I mean, I don't think Sinja's gonna go for an early invade, because usually they only do that if they have Predator and they take boots.
And I'm thinking this is an impressive amount of gameplay knowledge until the exact opposite of that shit happened and he dies.
How did they even get over that wall, by the way? Wait, I'm actually confused now. I have no idea how they actually got into there. Because we had Poppy like scouting topside.
Don't worry Tay, I put on my detective hat to find an answer to this exact question, and it turns out they just walked there. But getting into our little golden boy rocking his purple fart dust canister, you see he immediately is playing more aggressive than an alcoholic stepfather before running all the way out to bumfuck Kalamazoo to install his first camera. Every time baby Thor walks up to the wave, he forcefully requests you play a game of leapfrog while keeping her more pushed in than a turd during donal sex. Speaking of the devil, he knows that weaponized Stephen Hawking will be in a slap battle to the death, so he comes in hotter than a chili pepper's asshole to get his team their first kill. But the violent crop duster is still bullying Tay's top laner, and I don't think it's just because she's a ginger, as he continues this pattern until she feels safe sitting around half health, when bam, he flash ignites that pocket-sized Wendy's logo and wins the all-in with ease. Then he goes on to start doing classic Singe things by spelling proxy with a capital P, spreading his post Chipotle with queso flatulence all over these hooded midget employees that have no choice but to huff that shit till they die. He takes this strat so deep that you might as well call it top lake, because it won't be seeing any waves for quite some time, but not to fear. Tay is here and he is a man with a plan.
He might face check this. If he does, we kill him.
But Wukong gives a different meaning to the phrase pole dance from the one affiliated with women who wear Tay's shirts as underwear on stage, and this leaves one of his co-workers dead and the rest of them thinking this.
Well, that ended absolutely terribly.
But this giga smurfing lactose intolerant didn't but chug 2 Charlie D'Amelio iced caramel lattes this morning to not make everyone around him suffer from his fatal flatulence, which leaves Tay running and burning to death. Then someone in chat starts talking about how he got food poisoning from the shrimp parm at the strip club in Tay's hometown.
I know what you mean.
He said the place was called the Booby Bungalow.
I'd say I've been there many times in my life.
But he's a Challenger player after all, so he can both reminisce about titty bars and monitor enemy cooldowns at the same time.
You know what? Singe doesn't have flash. Let me look for a kill top. No flash, no ult, no ignites.
But there's a reason this particular certified anus inspector is 29 and 1, and thanks to Lil Poppy being back here whiffing his ass gas like she has a fetish for it, Tay ends up dying alone to Mr. Super Smurf. Throughout the game he just kept saying this phrase over and over again.
Fuck resetting.
Fuck resetting.
Fuck resetting.
And I don't know who resetting is, but I think it's the name he gave to his stuffed cheetah. That said, his team may be down, but they are like, yeah, down to clown, so he goes full-blown Ghost Rider to get the pig-tailed midget to shut down against the walking submarine.
I mean, that blows that she's the one that got the shutdown.
And I agree, considering she's about as smart as someone who runs on the tracks to catch the subway. Meanwhile, the guy who looks like someone who gets hired to run around at gender reveal parties does a last flipsy gasses out one more group of hoodlums, takes his tower in peace, and then positions in the forest with nothing but bad intentions and severe IBS. But Chad is busy asking Tay what he said to the cops when they busted him at the booby bungalow.
I'm in a bit of a predicament.
But it turns out his dumb asshole was in an even bigger predicament as he makes sure she ingests so many purple poo particles that she can't see straight anymore as he follows the flashing leader to a sack of cash and then continues finding new customers for his latest perfume line, Tay being one of them, before he finally goes down, but not without getting a triple kill in the process. Then a giant fight breaks out over who gets custody of Ocean, the Drake named after one of the employees at the booby bungalow, as you see Tay pacing around like he's holding in the piss of his life until Mr. Smurf gets uninvited from the party, opening the door for a quick pick on Anchor Andy for the good guys.
Nice.
That said, Fartzilla over here was like a young Liam Neeson in Taken, but instead of finding his daughter's attacker and killing them, he was focused on just existing in the presence of other Virgin League players and making them inhale his shit whispers until the fight ended with his team on top. And at this point he was single-handedly having such a big impact on the game, where the one time he got caught deep-throating an Ashalton Tower's private property and died. Here was Tay's reaction.
When they got singed! Wait, hold on, that could be Baron.
It wasn't, but then he continued talking about what he said when the cops arrested the stripper that night.
If I don't have Radiant, I'm irrelevant.
Radiant wouldn't be my first pick for a stripper name, but hey, to each his own. But anyways, the game at this point was more unbalanced than a seesaw, with Nikito Avocado filming a mukbang on one end, and I guess at this rank, players don't waste time in lost games for 20 extra minutes arguing with each other. They just forfeit early, and I guess that's the story of most of this singed game, so all that was left to do was ask Tay if the shrimp parm at the booby bungalow is actually that bad.
I mean, I don't think it's that bad. But I honestly don't think it's that bad at all.
Rav out.